It was the middle of September, on the small town of Edwin, Ohio. The afternoon sunlight just barely broke through Mr. Clive's yard sale. People from all over the neighborhood came to view the spectacular items for sale, laying perfectly in place on beautiful tables. "No, no," Mr. Clive angrily continued. "I won't let go of that lamp for less than $10. The customer gave him a stern look, but purchased the item anyway. Everyone knew that Mr. Clive's wife just recently passed away, so no one wanted to give him a hard time. The death impacted Mr. Clive greatly. Most of the items he had for sale were trinkets gathered from all 50 states. He and his wife finally took that long-awaited trip, collecting items that would trigger memories of the good times they shared, which he reminisced on so fondly. Eventually, after feeling alone, Mr. Clive decided to let go of all the painful memories, much to his dismay. A woman with long blonde hair and ocean blue eyes strolled along the lawn. She carefully looked at the objects, giving most of them a distasteful stare. "Oh, hello, Mrs. Danvers. May I interest you in anything?" Mr. Clive said, with a hidden disgust. It was pretty common for everyone in the neighborhood to hate Nora Danvers. She was a rich snob who loved to remind people how poor they were. The large diamonds around her neck displayed her wealth, like a billboard with huge arrows pointing at her for attention. "Well, Hubert, most of the things you are selling here seem like junk to me. Did your wife have any taste at all?" Nora said, as she threw one of the items back on the table. Hubert hated when the people he disdained called him by his first name. "Mr. Clive, I'm so sorry if my wife caused you any problems. Please forgive her rudeness," Nora's husband William kindly asked, as he emerged just a few feet behind his wife. Herbert's scowl turned into a smile. He knew William since he was just a child. Every weekend for 15 years, William would help out Hubert and his wife outside with chores, never asking the couple for a cent. Miss Clive would often show her gratitude by making William delicious foods to eat. She always believed that hard-working boys deserved a hearty meal. "William, my boy, it's good to see you. Thank you for visiting, and yes, all is forgiven," Hubert said, hugging William tight. Nora scoffed at both of them, telling her husband that she would be in the limo waiting for him. The two caught up on the years that passed. William became a successful app creator, making him a millionaire. He soon met Nora while coming back to live in his hometown. The couple eventually got married. However, William started to notice Nora's subtle changes once they tied the knot. Everyone around town knew that Nora had her eyes set on William for his money. He was the only one that seemed clueless at the time. Things seemed to always reveal themselves when there was no one left to deceive. William yelled at everyone at the yard sale. "I'm sorry, everybody. Everything here has officially been purchased." The people placed the items back that they were examining, leaving with disappointed looks on their faces. Hubert's eyes opened wide in shock. William opened his wallet, handing a thick bundle of $100 bills to his old friend. "No, I can't accept this, Will," Hubert humbly mumbled. "Please, Mr. Clive, please allow me to do this. I miss her too. You both were always so kind to me. It's the least I can do," William firmly said in a soft tone. Hubert gently grabbed the money. Tears streamed down his face as he once again hugged his friend. "Hey, can you both stop being faggots already? I want to leave," Nora yelled, rolling the window back up to the limo. "Geez, what a bitch," William exclaimed. Herbert let out a brief laugh, assuring that everything would be packed and delivered to William's house tomorrow morning. The two shook hands as they both went their separate ways. The next morning, William hired workers to clear out an extra bedroom that had never been used. He decided to place all of Hubert's items inside, awaiting for a time to give it back to him when his heartache would mend. "What do you think you're doing?" Nora yelled. "Well, I cleared out the useless room so I could place my newly purchased items inside," William said with a smile. Nora laughed and retorted, "You're not putting that old garbage here. I won't allow it." For a moment, for the first time ever, Nora saw the anger her husband subdued for so long. "I think those diamonds are weighing down on your brain, bitch," William continued. "Don't forget that it's because of me that you are living the way you are now. If you ever talk bad about the Clives again, your ass is going back to the trailer park where I found you. Do you understand?" Nora agreed in silence. The next day, William left for a business meeting. Nora, still upset about what happened yesterday, began throwing a tantrum around the house. She decided to take out her anger on the stored items. While pushing the old objects aside, Nora noticed a box with her name on it. "Why would this box have my name?" she wondered. Nora grabbed the box, opening it to reveal numerous old romance novels scattered inside. The spoiled rich girl tossed most of the novels aside. She never spent time reading anything, yet that would soon change. One of the novels caught her attention. The book's cover had been drastically faded, leaving no title behind. The only thing visible was an image of a handsome man's face, not uncommon with most romance novels. This one, however, captured Nora's blue eyes. The man's face had rugged linings, clear signs of a person who toughed out harsh weather conditions. His beard showed silver strands, hugging the black hair that still revealed signs of youth. The man's eyes were an emerald green, which pierced right through Nora's soul like a pen on an open diary. She caressed her fingers across his face, feeling the lumps which brought a form of realism to the cover's touch. Nora stood up, taking the novel with her to the patio outside. Sitting under a bright day, she noticed upon opening the cover that there was no information on the origins of this book. The novel's scent captured her attention further. Its smell tickled her senses. The aroma of a rugged cologne floated in the air as she read the first page. Hours passed by. Nora had been enchanted by the tale, which she wanted so much to be a part of. On an ocean of a faraway land, a handsome pirate by the name of Lucio de Verde made his mark around the world. The famed pirate sailed the 7 seas, stealing more than just treasure. Lucio was a wanted man by the women he seduced, and by the men who wanted him dead. The novel had its twists and turns, bringing Nora deeply into the story itself. Halfway through the book, she felt herself being drawn inside. "Nora, where are you?" William shouted. Nora snapped out of her trance, closing the book to see what her husband wanted. She felt the pull of the novel. It wasn't figurative, it was real. Nora swore that she could see the emerald green eyes of the pirate Lucio, begging her to join him. The couple once again got into an argument. William angrily yelled about all the fragile items that were shattered on the floor. Nora just sat in the dining room chair, letting his voice go from one ear to the other. The tired husband went to bed, while his spoiled wife headed to the living room. Nora grabbed a glass of wine, turning on the fireplace to provide some light for her continued reading. She flipped the pages, scanning the words closely until she found a familiar paragraph. Nora sipped on her wine, feeling a supernatural pull take over. Lucio once again reached his hand out to her. His emerald green eyes stared at her ocean blue eyes intensely. Nora gently grabbed his hand as she silently vanished. The next morning, William heard a loud scream coming from the living room. Heading downstairs in haste, he ran across the hall to notice his wife sitting on a soft recliner, firmly holding the faded novel, with a sword pierced through her chest. The police took William's statement, considering him a suspect after he admitted arguing with her that night. Once the sword was dusted for fingerprints, it was revealed that the prints on the handle belonged to an unidentified man. William was no longer a suspect, but he was told not to leave town. A week later, Hubert visited William to offer his condolences. The two once again talked for a long while. Both men spent time enjoying one another's company at the local bar. Hubert, in his drunken state, admitted that he missed having his wife's old things around the house, asking if he could buy it back. William shook his head, taking out his phone to call the movers to go by his house and collect the trinkets. Hubert once again appreciated everything that his young friend did for him. The movers began to collect the boxes. Much to Hubert's surprise, a box which had the name Nora confused him. "Will, my boy, this box doesn't belong to me. I think it's one of yours," Hubert said, confused. William stated that the box had been there with the other items. Before that, he had never seen it around the house. William opened the cardboard container, noticing that the faded novel was inside, along with various other books. He could have sworn that the police took it as crime scene evidence. William took the faded novel and decided to find out where it came from. He placed the cover on a computer scanner, sending out the digital prints to publishers who specialized in romance stories. To his surprise, he received one message. The message had been sent by a woman who claimed that she used to have a successful publishing company. One day, she received an email from a writer who wished to remain anonymous. The email contained a story about a handsome pirate going on an amazing adventure. This kind of writing was common for the publisher, so she had her female assistant take care of the story. As the days passed, the assistant began to act strangely. She spent a majority of her time reading the story. The following night, the assistant broke into the publishing building to make copies of the novel. Later that day, she was found dead next to the copy machine, with a sword in her chest. The death brought a bad reputation for the publishing company. There was no choice but to shut the place down due to lack of sales. The publisher ordered her workers to burn all the remaining novel copies, blaming the writer for her misfortune. Some of the male workers read the novel before most of the copies were destroyed. They seemed to experience no effects from it. They all claimed, however, that the story was very well written, deserving of the title it was given. The title was The Adventures of Lucio de Ved, Pirate, Seducer, Murderer. The publisher's last words were to get rid of the book. Somehow, the atom had been responsible for his wife's death. The murders were indeed creepily identical. William placed it back in the box and threw the whole thing in the fire. He still didn't know how the container ended up at his house. The cardboard began to crackle as the flames blanketed the cursed box. The moment he started to walk away, William could eerily hear the screams of numerous people coming from inside the fireplace.